Hey there everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. This channel is primarily a music and a guitar related channel, but I wanted to talk today about the camera that I'm using to make my YouTube videos, which is this guy, the Canon EOS M50. Although I'm not making this part of the video with it. Let me tell you a little bit about how I got started doing this. When I got into doing YouTube clips and videos, I had a little GoPro that I made a few clips on, which is pretty much just set and forget, and the picture quality isn't fantastic. I was very fortunate though that my wife is a concert photographer, and she kind of prodded and nudged and encouraged me to use her camera, which I'm shooting this on right now, which is a Canon EOS 5D Mark III. Fantastic camera, does amazing video, and I used that up until about 3 or 4 months ago when I got this little guy, mostly because, you know, I got sick of basically having to say to her, hey, can I use your camera? Hey, can I use your camera? Hey, can I use your camera? Where I ended up using it more than she did. And the other thing was I wanted to be able to take a camera on the road with my band Ragdoll and, you know, make vlogs and film concerts and stuff like that, preferably in 1080 or 4K, and this little camera does all of those things. So I was pretty lucky. I got it for under 700 Australian dollars on eBay. Forget where it came from, it might have come from Hong Kong or something like that, and it came with this little kit lens. But essentially it is part of Canon's new mirrorless range, which means it's super compact, and yeah, basically you've got all the sort of features that you would expect on something like a smartphone, but in a camera. One thing that's super handy for doing the YouTube thing is the little fold out screen, which, as you can see, if I set it up, means that I can monitor what I'm doing. So I can set my camera up, say over there, and I can look at the screen and get the shot sorted, and then I can use the touch focus to focus on what I'm doing, and it has made workflow so much easier for me. Rather than with the 5D, I've got to set it up, I've got to walk around, look at the viewfinder. I was using this little remote control to turn it on and off, and yeah, it basically probably saves me, on a typical day I'll normally shoot 2 or 3 videos, and it probably saves me up to like 10 minutes just going back and forth and getting the right shot. So the cool thing about this camera is that obviously it's got the touch screen, it's so small, and the kit lens looks really good, but it's just kind of like chuck it in my bag, take it with me wherever I want to go, and I can do vlog stuff, or I can set it up on a tripod and make clips. So there's 2 little accessories that I got with it that are super handy. One of them is this little Rode microphone. I forget the name, but I've got it listed in the video description. So what it does is it just sort of clips on to the top, screws in, and there's like a little headphone style jack, 1/8 inch connector, just plugs into the side there, and then I've got a mini shotgun mic, and it's also got a little one of those cool furry windsocks to go with it, which I don't need for stuff like this. And the other thing, which is super awesome, because my wife has a couple of great Canon lenses, if I pop this lens off, the EOS M50 uses a different lens size, so it's not directly compatible with your other Canon lenses. But if I pop that off, and I get this guy over here, this is an adapter made by Canon. I think it was about 120 Australian dollars, which basically means I can just chuck it onto my lens, and then I can use the normal sort of full-size Canon lenses, like in this case, the NIFTY 50, which is a fantastic lens for just about anything you want to do, whether it's video or it's stills. And I can pop that guy on there, line them up, and there we go. Now I've got my EOS M50 set up with a NIFTY 50, which is a cool little rhyme. And this is fantastic if you want to do stills or anything like that. I recently did a gig where I was talking to a very prominent fashion photographer who happened to be there shooting the gig, and he was using mirrorless stuff. He was using some Zeiss glass, which looked amazing, and he was saying that pretty much for most of his stuff now, he uses a mirrorless camera with just a nice lens. So if you're in the market to get a DSLR, consider the M50, because it can do 4K video, although it's not full frame 4K video. And if you've already got a collection of lenses, you can just get this lens adapter for like 120 bucks, slap it on, and it's good to go. So let's have a look at some of the features, and then I'll show you some photos and some video that I've taken with it. So the layout is very typical of Canon. As you can see, we've got this little 4-way wheel with a button in the middle. You can assign each of these to whatever you want. For example, the flash button I don't use, so I've got it set as my auto white balance or white balance select, which is very handy. I've just got it set on auto because I am a pleb, and we can access our SD card menu. What I really like about this is it's kind of like using an iPhone or something, where you can use these two-finger commands to scroll through the different types of pictures, or you can go to sort of the classic view and just move through them, or use the buttons to move around with them as well. So that's very, very handy. You've also got a very well-featured menu which basically does everything you would want to do. You can choose between the shooting mode, the movie record quality, sound recording, aberration correction, a whole bunch of stuff that I don't need to use because it's pretty much set up and go. One thing that I did do was set a user-defined picture style. There are a whole bunch of presets in the camera, which is really nice. But I've got my own user-defined one in here. Basically, if you go to info, you can select the sharpness, contrast, saturation, and color tone to whatever you like, which is very, very nifty indeed. And as you can see, touchscreen, meaning if I want to navigate, it's super easy. You know, I can just press any of these and immediately get through them, and I'm not stuck like scrolling through different tabs. So that is how I'm using it. Of course, all the usual stuff about saving stuff or erasing stuff on the camera, which is pretty handy. One thing that I like as well on the normal mode is being able to select auto or manual focus by pressing one button, which is very, very handy. And the kit lens is pretty nifty. Hopefully you can kind of see what it's zooming in on there. Maybe it's not the best picture quality. Perhaps if I turn this down. Yeah, there you go. And you can see that the zoom's pretty handy. We can go from here all the way up to here, and with autofocus everything is nice and crispy, which I like a lot. So that's just on video mode. The stills mode is really good as well. Obviously it depends on the type of lens that you're going to use, but even just a little kit lens is really handy. So I'll show you a couple of photos that I took with either the kit lens, the NIFTY 50, or the Canon zoom lens, and I'll just show you a few little shots of some video, and that will wrap up the review. Basically the selfie mode, which is pretty cool. As you can see, as I move the camera and move it out, the autofocus is adjusting, which I love. Look at that, look at that detail, it's so nice. And you know, it's cool if you're moving around and doing all this kind of stuff. The image stabilization is really pretty good. Most of the time I have it mounted on a tripod, so I don't have to worry about that at all. A little hair that I've lodged in there, that's not good. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. As you can see, being able to just immediately use the pinwheel to adjust, you know, the shutter speed and stuff like that is pretty handy as well. And yeah, this is my ugly face. What's up? Furthermore, another feature of this thing that is really, really handy is that there is an app for your phone, which means that you can take the perfect little selfie or the perfect little Instagram video, smash it straight over to your phone and upload it, which I have been doing a little bit more. I have to say it's pretty handy, especially being able to run from my Axe effects, going out of the headphone out straight into the camera, do a little video, put it on Instagram, and sit there and wait for the likes to roll in. By the way, you can follow me and like me at Leon_Ragdoll on Instagram. So that's the camera that I'm using now to shoot videos. There were obviously a couple of mitigating factors in there that made me go with the Canon over stuff like the Sony Alpha or the Panasonic Lumix, both of which are, you know, those whole series are fantastic. The Alpha, I know, can do full frame 4K, which is I think Canon have just come out with one that can do that, but it's like twice the price of the EOS M50, which is, you know, more than I need for those kind of factors. Like I said, I just want to shoot in HD and have it look good. I was obviously already in the Canon ecosystem. Like I said, my wife's got a bunch of great lenses that I can now use with the lens converter, so that kind of works, and you know, autofocus and all that kind of stuff works with those lenses really easily. I didn't have to do anything, I just slapped the converter on and it worked great. And also the price, like I said, I was lucky enough to get mine on sale. It was under $700, and that's with the kit lens. So basically for that, maybe another $120 on the lens. I think the little Rode shotgun mic was around 70 bucks. And I went and bought a filter for doing some stuff outside as well, which cost me like 10 bucks. Again, on sale. I kind of got lucky with a lot of these things, and you know, add in there a tripod and SD cards and stuff like that, and you can probably score one with all these kind of features for around 1,000 Australian dollars, which is fantastic if you're looking to get into the game of doing YouTube videos. That will give you really great, crisp, professional looking stuff. And you know, you don't even have to know how to use a camera. You could just put on auto settings, and the auto settings are pretty good. Again, you know, it pays to read up a little bit about this stuff and, you know, learn one or two things more. I'm sure there's a bunch of you guys out there who are absolute camera nerds who are looking at this video going, oh, why is he doing that, and why is he framed it like that, and his white balance is off. But like I said, I'm a musician. I just want something that's plug and play for doing videos, and this thing has made my workflow so easy. So that's why I went with the EOS M50 over, say, the Sony Alpha or the Panasonic Lumix, and why I went mirrorless as well. So yeah, this is also probably like the worst camera review ever if you're a camera nerd. Why would you listen to a guitar player talk about cameras? But if you did, feel free to hit subscribe. Maybe I can teach you something about music gear and guitars, and we can have a contest to see who's nerdier, musicians or camera nerds. In the meantime, you guys stay excellent. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys around very soon.